What's up, pals? Today we're going to be starting a new series called The Reply. Pretty much what I'll be doing throughout the week is just highlighting and favoriting different TikToks that spark my fancy and those videos that you watch and you just wish you could actually reply to because the comments are outrageous and even sometimes the content in the video is outrageous. So it's just my chance to scroll my feed, find videos that I genuinely just want to reply to, and then share that with you. Maybe you feel the same rage as me, maybe you think I'm an idiot, I don't know. But for this episode, we're checking out a bunch of Charlie Kirk or other political TikToks and seeing where it takes us. This first video is on Charlie Kirk and his perception of women's brains compared to men's brains.
You think that there's nothing within the female brain in its constitution that makes young ladies more likely...
I mean, being that I'm an engineer, I don't think so. No. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I feel like there's...
So you think if you pick a random lady here that they'd be just as comfortable sitting and watching a 4-hour football game than they were to go get their hair done with their best girlfriend?
Well, I feel like that's kind of diminishing to say, oh, because you're a woman, you will not be able to sit through a 4-hour football field.
But is it diminishing to say a man wouldn't want to go get his hair done? No.
No, I'm sure you get your hair done, right?
Not really. It's like 10 minutes in and out, like barbershop.
Okay, but you still do it.
But the point, again, there are certain things that women will take more seriously. For example, women will take a lot longer getting ready for the day than men, right? Why?
Because we're held to higher standards to
No,
look pretty.
No.
For example, your hair. How short is your hair? It's super short. Mine, it's gonna take longer to dry.
Do you wear
right?
makeup?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you want to look pretty, and it takes.
Yeah, that's not important to me because I'm a man.
Well, right. But who made you feel
there's
that
something
way?
in your
but you
wiring.
feel comfortable
No,
not wearing
it's not
makeup because of a certain reason.
Well, but you wouldn't feel comfortable wearing makeup?
I can not wear makeup.
But why do you do it?
I mean, like right now I'm not wearing like anything really.
So I'm not the biggest fan or enemy of Charlie Kirk. I just feel like everybody that's a political talking head to some degree has some good points and bad points. In this specific instance, his argument is completely trash if you ask me. No disrespect to him. I just think it's not a good point to be making. First off, he said, so you think that a woman could last through a 4-hour football game and that men don't want to sit for 4 hours and have their hair done. I have dreads. I'm a man. I'm pretty much on the masculine end of things, not too feminine, and I have to sit in a chair for 2-3 hours to get my hair done because of the style that I chose. Also, the fact that she said, you want to look pretty, and he said, I don't care about that because I'm a man. But at the same time, I would bet you any money that he would also explain why it's important to be well-groomed and have a great appearance when you're going in for an interview or just to be a man in general because it gets you respect. And the fact that a man would dress appropriate for respect or for status is the same exact reason why women do, except, you have the basis of societal standards that a lot of women have based on media and other things. But the thing about that is men have them too. Everybody just needs to be themselves and call it a day. If you enjoy the feeling that the societal standards give you, great. If you don't use them. It's not that deep. Summary, the whole thing was just stupid because, again, men to some degree do care about the same things as women, and as she said, she has longer hair, so her hair takes longer to dry, therefore it takes her longer to get ready in the morning, which makes sense. But statistically, yes, women do take longer in the morning, and most of it is because of makeup, which men don't wear. Why? Because society doesn't ask us to, but also you don't have to just because society asks you to do something. If you have a problem with society asking you to do it, don't do it. But there is rationale on why these things happen. So they're both right and they're both wrong. This next video is kind of a controversial one, and it comes from the space of black people and their racism. And I've noticed this personally a lot in the last couple of years, and it's quite unfortunate. It could definitely be taken for a longer conversation. Can black people be racist?
You want to talk about real racism? I'll be honest, black people are the most racist people, bro.
Oh yeah, I know.
They openly do it, and it's because and the reason why is because they're able to openly be racist with zero consequence, so they can say what they want to say. Literally, I'll see them say the most deplorable things about white people, but they feel that they can do it because of slavery and everything else like that. And I'm like, it's interesting because you guys perpetuate the very thing that you cry about the most. You guys perpetuate the very racism you claim white people are putting on you. This systemic racism, whatever. Black people are the first ones to call white people crackers and all the other derogatory terms.
Asians are pretty damn racist too. If you guys been Asians, they are racist.
Oh yeah, they are.
Other Asians, blacks, Mexicans, you motherfuckers are racist.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Asians
not
really
that racist
are.
against white people. Maybe
It's funny though.
Maybe it's not when I'm around.
No black man.
Yeah, right. Well, the parents might be a little disappointed, but well, at least you're white, not black.
Yeah.
Or at least you're not Japanese if they're Chinese. Or
Yeah, they're racist towards everybody. It's great.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But that's the thing too. I've noticed a lot of other cultures, they put pressure on their son or daughter to bring home someone of the same race. But if white people do it, they get viewed as evil. And I don't think to me, I'm not against race mixing, but I think it's weird when the white people get viewed for evil doing it when all the other races can push it.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that people say about me, like, "Oh, Myron, you're an apologist for white supremacists." I'm like, not necessarily. I'm a free speech absolutist, and I think that if black people could run around and say black power, I think white people should be able to run around and say white power because freedom of speech is freedom of speech. And I find it interesting that we will sit there and we'll encourage black power and Black Lives Matter or whatever. But if someone says, well, white power, and I want white men to marry white women, and I don't believe in race mixing. Well, how's that different than Dr. Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed saying you need to marry a black woman and keep it black? Like, if we on one side we allow these people to say this stuff, this divisive rhetoric, I think these people on this side should be able to do it too. But it's just that when white people say, "Oh, well, I don't believe in race mixing and I don't want white women getting with black men," though I don't agree with that. That doesn't mean I'm not going to fight for the right to say it because I'm a free speech absolutist, and that's where low IQ people don't understand that I have a principle that I think freedom of speech overrides everything. Like, do I agree with them on this? No, but I will fight for their right to say it because no one else is going to have the balls to say, look, white people should be able to say white power without fucking being attacked.
Yeah.
This one I'm going to keep pretty short because my answers are straightforward. So I'm also a big advocate for freedom of speech. However, I do agree that the things that I've seen a lot of people saying on Twitter, threads, et cetera, all over social media about white people, it just makes me uncomfortable and it's not cool. I've personally corrected family members about it. Like, you can't just talk down to white people and expect things to change because first off, you're doing the exact behavior that black people were put under. You can't have this discussion about why it's okay for black people to say black power and white people not to say white power because they come from two different places. In the current time period, I believe that there is a problem with not being pro-black, but the attitude of a lot of these people that are pro-black. When people started saying black power, it was from a lower position trying to uplift. When people were saying white power, it was from a higher position trying to subjugate others. As far as the race mixing, I also believe that people like Dr. Umar, although they may mean well for the culture, at this point in history, it's not really a great point to be making. It could have been used years ago where it's like, we need to handle our business, thrive in our communities. Yes, our communities are, to be honest, not the greatest right now, but I don't think you need to tear down white people to bring them up because that's what they did. I also don't like the way that Myron talks about black people. If there was one message I could say to him, it's the simple fact that if you want to see black people do better as a black man yourself, you don't have to talk down to them. You don't have to talk like you're so much better than them because the people that you're talking about, you're one of them. So in a situation where you want your brother to get better, you don't talk down to him and act like he's not family. You check him and you say, hey, bro, you got to figure this out. You don't be derogatory towards him. Because you're just making people comfortable having these stereotypes and perceptions that they're also gonna put on you, someone who's not like that.
Are men and women equal?
Actually, women are better than men. What do men bring to the world? Literally nothing. Women, the vibes, just everything.
Everything you know and love. If you look around the entire infrastructure of our nation, our economy, every building you walk into, the way that you are portraying your ideas and opinions is through technology and infrastructure and an economy and a nation that was not only built, but it's still maintained to this day by men.
Did men allow you to have that haircut?
You taking personal attacks makes me seem like the more intelligent.
Okay, I understand.
Validate your point, not some personal attack because you're losing the argument. Feminism stops whenever it's inconvenient for y'all. By definition, you are delusional if you cannot defend your ideas.
You should go.
I actually don't.
This discussion is just stupid because off the rip, you could tell that she wasn't taking it serious. The simple fact that she said, women bring the vibes. Then you have him who's saying the infrastructure and everything, the economy, everything around you was built by men. The majority, yes, but then you always have those cool fun facts like, oh, in 1923, this was created by blah, 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 whether it's a black man or a woman. But the facts remain the same. A lot of society has been built by men due to the patriarchy and due to women's role throughout history or limitations throughout history. But there are a great number of women who were not stopped by that fact. But he had a lot of great points about the fact that she instantly went for personal attacks. This doesn't sum up all women. It just sums up one woman who wasn't prepared to have the conversation that she voluntarily entered into. He spin facts. She's dumb and not the greatest person for the discussion. I think one of the biggest problems and arguments with that the left has when it comes to the trans activism is the simple fact that they won't define exactly what a woman is. And I know some of them do, but I think personally that Women are women, men are men, trans women are trans women, trans men are trans men, and I believe that is okay. The discussion that's always had about like, trans women are women, that doesn't make sense to me, because if that was the case, we wouldn't need the verbiage trans. Are trans women women?
Yeah, my next claim is that trans women are not women. Okay. What's your name?
Sam.
Nice to meet you. Let's define our terms. A woman is an adult female with XX chromosomes. You tell me, what is a woman?
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition of
No,
how...
it's not. A table is an object.
Well,
a table can't identify as anything. It doesn't have choice.
You have to give me an objective definition of what a woman is.
If I decided right now that I wanted to identify as a woman, I would be a woman.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I know, but right now I'm a man, right? So if that happened right now, I'd be a woman.
So
once a person makes the decision to identify as a woman,
got it. No,
they're a woman.
That's a separate issue. What is a woman?
That's the definition.
No, I know, but you have to tell me what.
A person who identifies themselves as a woman.
But you have how do you know that they are that thing?
How do I don't need to know what they. I can ask them if I want to know.
But there needs to be. You need to tell me what that thing is, though.
Somebody who. Okay, sorry, we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere.
Well, no, it's important because it's like saying a giraffe is a thing that looks like a giraffe, or a coyote is a thing that looks like a coyote. It's called circular reasoning. You have to give me a actual definition.
I don't have to. I did give you a definition.
No. You said that a woman is something that thinks they're a woman. That doesn't give me a definition. That's simply.
What would you consider a definition then?
An adult female with XX chromosomes.
No. I mean, like, what makes that a definition?
The thing about this video is that the person seemed like they were entirely unprepared for this conversation and maybe too young to be in a debate because they don't understand how to properly communicate their ideas. The simple fact that they didn't understand what circular reasoning was without the definition or the term circular reasoning, like the simple fact that you tried to say a woman is anyone that identifies as a woman, that doesn't make sense, because then I have to ask again, okay, well, what is a woman? Again, I have no issue with someone being trans whatsoever. If I saw somebody trying to beat somebody up who was trans, I defend them for the simple sake of human decency. And this person definitely wasn't mature enough to be in this situation. And you could almost see for a second there, they wanted to say, I don't have to give you a definition. And they almost defeated the entire purpose of the debate. And this person doesn't represent everybody that is trying to make a claim for trans rights or anything like that. They were entirely unprepared and not qualified to have this debate with someone like Charlie Kirk. But in my honest, unfiltered opinion, are trans women women? No, they're trans women, and that's okay. The next video was one that caught my eye because it touches on the subject of whether or not people with Jewish heritage are white or not.
We've never had a black female president. I still have to pay taxes.
We've never had a
the
Jewish
whole
president.
concept is no taxation without. We have had a white male president. We've had like 45 of
but
them.
whether Jews count as white or not has been sort of an object of debate for quite a while. We do. Okay.
You do.
So, I mean, it depends according to whom, and that's a pretty recent development. Okay, so.
Basically everyone. It's a religion.
Judaism
do you not agree that you are a white man?
I mean, I think that it depends on the context in which you're discussing it.
So what are you, Ben? Are you not a white guy?
I mean, I'm a man of Jewish ethnicity, which is sometimes grouped with white and sometimes not. I mean, that's the more accurate way to put it. But when
what
we're
else
talking
would you be
about
grouped
with Jews, who are which is an ethnicity. I mean,
so you're not white at all.
I mean, again, it depends who's doing the grouping and how. I've seen Jews grouped with white and Jews grouped with not white. Are we just pretending that doesn't exist? That's a reality. However, as far as your generalized point, which is that we are supposed to identify people by group identity, if we don't have a black female president, somehow black females have not been represented. So Barack Obama was in no way representative of black females because he's not a female.
No, he was representative,
so
but
he was
that's
half
the point.
representative. How do you do the math on this? And why?
You shouldn't do the math on it completely statistically, but the fact
is, you shouldn't do the math on it at all. You should treat people as individuals.
So her entire point here was no taxation without representation, and then says that we haven't had a black female president, therefore she shouldn't have to pay taxes, which is just outstandingly stupid. Then we got into the debate on whether or not Jewish people are white or, Jewish. And the fact that she wasn't aware of the discussion of whether or not Jewish people were white just boggles my mind, considering she considers herself a social activist. Because you'd think that someone who's a social activist worried about race relations would understand the KKK and understand that the KKK is a white supremacist group who believes in the supremacy of whites. Now, if Jewish people were white, wouldn't the KKK accept them? Again, the KKK is a white supremacy group who does not like Jews. because Jews are not categorized as white all the time. Ben had a complete valid point here, and the fact that she's just oblivious to this shows me that she is living in an echo chamber and doesn't actually know about the things that she's claiming to know about. I also believe in, representation in different ventures of life and such, depending on what we're talking about, but representation doesn't just start and stop at race. For example, a jury of your peers doesn't mean you're going to get a whole jury of all black people. Your peers could include people part of your race, class, or even your job. And in a country like ours, where it's such a melting pot, you would want anybody to be able to be president, which they can. Then, destroying her own argument, she said that Obama did represent black females, but then also said that she shouldn't have to pay taxes because she's never had representation. So if Obama did represent it, then what are you even talking about? America's gonna America.